Hey y'all, welcome to my tutorial how to make a Christmas wreath. I'm using all Dollar Tree material, and this is a wreath that they sell at Dollar Tree, not the 99-cent store. I know a lot of people confuse Dollar General 99-cent store, but it's Dollar Tree, that's the name of the company. Anyways, here I'm just making sure that the stems are all facing opposite direction, so one in, one out, one in, one out. And I do that all around the wreath until it looks like this, like a little steering wheel. Then I'm going to take this 9-foot tinsel in green, as you can see it sparkles, and I'm going to start wrapping it around my wreath. Using those stems that are in opposite directions. I did that so it's easier for it to kind of spiral around, because I mean if they were in opposite directions they would kind of be hard to fill in those gaps. I'm just using the garland to give the wreath a little more volume, to make it look less like a little sad wreath and more into a happy jolly wreath. And I speed it up because it is 9 feet and it took me forever. I did not think this through, but it's a fun DIY project that you can do by yourself or with somebody. And here is how it looks after I wrapped all 9 feet around. And I'm just trying to find a way to kind of hold it together so it doesn't fall apart. I do end up using a little bit of hot glue. There we go. And just placing it and squeezing down as hard as I can. And here I'm taking a red garland, again for more volume, because without it, it would have looked like the saddest wreath you've ever seen. So here I'm starting to wrap it around in the opposite direction of how I did the green. So that way it kind of helps the green stay together, and it kind of lets the green pop out and the red pops out at its own moment. Doesn't look like a big green red mess, well, at least to me. So here I go again, 9 feet wrapped around a wreath. How much fun. Took me hours. My foot fell asleep. Yep. So here we go, after 20 hours of doing this. I'm just kidding, it doesn't take that long. I glued it down and I tucked it in like I did the green. And yeah, look, it looks more voluminous. And here I'm going to take a bell garland, also found at Dollar Tree. I know this video is coming up a little late, but maybe you'll find something like that, or you can save this for next year. There's always next year. Anyways, I untangled the big old mess, and then I used my handy dandy scissors to cut it, because without it, it would be more complicated than the garland, trust me. These bells were not cooperating as easily. So I do end up using glue to hold down that beginning part, because it wasn't going to hold on. And I think it was a total of 6 bells in the whole little string set. So I just made sure that each bell kind of was separated as equally as possible, facing the direction that I wanted. Yeah, I mean, I just went into Dollar Tree and I just grabbed whatever I thought would look good in a wreath. I honestly, fun DIYs. You can find all materials at Dollar Tree. Because who wants to spend a whole bunch of money for little pieces of stuff? Anyways, here I am, wrapping, cutting, wrapping, gluing, until I have this. Can you hear the sound of the bell? Maybe you're still a little kid at heart. Maybe Santa Claus will bring you something this year. Anyways, I'm taking this little bell, and you see it has a little hole, and it actually came with string, like, you know, to hang an ornament type of string. And you just do the same thing as you do with the needle and the thread, and you put it in, no pun intended, and you tie it down. That way the bell doesn't become loose, because that would be very frustrating. And here you go. That's how it's supposed to look like. take your little handy dandy bell and start attaching it to your wreath. And I started looking around, mapping it out, seeing how far apart I wanted it from the little bells, fake bells, because they don't sound. Did I say there were 6 bells before? I don't know how many bells there's on there. I honestly didn't count. I mean the bells that don't jingle, not the jingle bells. Anyways, here I am just tying it from the back. It's really simple. No glue is necessary. As long as you tie it pretty tight, they're not going anywhere. And it's good to have them loose. That way they kind of jingle with the movement of the wreath. And here I'm just showing you the progress that I'm making. If I could find my bells. And after I put them all down, I took these flowers that I took from a Christmas bouquet, and I took them off their stems, and I put a little bit of hot glue and started placing them on my wreath. I actually mapped them all out because I didn't want to go in there without a clue of what I was doing. And I actually had 2 bouquets, but each bouquet had 5 flowers, so I thought it would be too much. So I did leave 1 bouquet alone. So I just used the 1 and 5 flowers. The other one I kept it for another project. And then I took from another bouquet these little pine cones and I started gluing them. For those I actually had to use scissors. And with those pine cones came these little berry looking things. I don't know what they're called. And I think that they were 5 of them too. I think it was 5. 5 or 6. And I started mapping it out as well. And I started just gluing them in there to add a little bit of volume outside. It's all about volume because they look sad without it. And here's the finished result of my wreath. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And like I said, everything's found at Dollar Tree for just $1. Didn't spend that much money. I ended up putting that bow last minute, but it's also from the Dollar Tree. Nothing in this project was over $1 each.